So I'm here with Al Douglas, and we're sitting on the back deck at Lot 343, and you might say we're right at the heart of Greater Alville. He covers the scene here in Charlottetown and all of PEI. Al, you have About Perspective Media is one of your operations, and you're doing photography, social media. Maybe you can tell us a bit more about how that all works.
It's just kind of all the above, and it's photography, it's lifestyle, it's social media. Really, it's just about getting Prince Edward Island and the East Coast just kind of out there and showing my love for it, and the views that I come across in my travels every day around here.
And food seems to be a big part of this.
Food's a huge part of my life for sure. There's not much more I can say other than that. I mean, it's huge.
Well, tell me about the link between food and kind of social media, or what I might call the hip crowds that are kind of interacting with the work you're doing. It seems like food really is and I might say authentic food, or food that's got a sense of place, is a big part of how people are putting this all together. Is that right?
Definitely. I mean, it's changed the game in the past few years in the food side of things with social media, and basically how anyone now can be a photographer with their smartphones and putting it out on the internet. For me, it's an easier way, and it's a better way, and it's an awesome way to show support for local. Everybody has to eat every day, and it's your choice of whether you're going to eat something from a fast food restaurant or from somewhere that's from away from the island, or if you're going to go out and support local suppliers and local staffing and all that kind of stuff. So to me, it's a no-brainer. It's just easy. It's easy for me to just go and eat somewhere in Charlottetown or anywhere in Prince Edward Island, and there's no shortage of options that way. And it's just about showcasing that.
And you made the reference to your photography, and you said you kind of tossed it off by saying about smartphones, but your photography's got a unique kind of a perspective and a sense of light and what it is you're actually communicating. So are you doing that simply with your smartphone, or you've got some more sophisticated gear than that?
A little bit more sophisticated. I do use my phone every now and then just to kind of frame things up and get the perspective I want from it. I do have an actual SLR camera that I use for most of the shots that you see that way, and it's just about finding those angles and finding the right light and showcasing the scene as best as possible, and a little bit different. And I like that kind of vibe that I can bring to it, that it's those similar PEI scenes, but from a different perspective, a different angle with different lighting, and it can totally change someone else's perspective on that area.
So how did you get started in this?
Tough question. It just kind of happened. I've always been involved with photography and just kind of learning the ropes as I go along, and I think it was just 1 week a couple years ago when I just said, nope, I really want to do this seriously and take it seriously and go from there, and that's just kind of how it started. I just kind of jumped right in head first.
So it's as much about being creative as it is from you might say, a commercial perspective that you're coming at this, but there is an essential entrepreneurial aspect to what you're doing. You're promoting business and you want things to grow.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, first and foremost, it's a creative outlet for me, for sure, and I think that's what I can kind of bring to the commercial side, is that it's not just straight ahead photos of the usual locations of food, of that kind of thing. It's got a creative spin to it, and it's an outlet for me. But no, it's been great to be able to showcase that and kind of get that out to people that either don't know these areas or haven't seen them before, because there's so many amazing spots on PEI, and all you got to do is just get out there and find them.
And you're building a following or a community. How do you measure that? Do you count followers, or what do you do?
For me, it just kind of grows organically, I find. Everyone these days that's on social media just wants good content.
Yeah.
And if you have good content, then the people will come. I'm not sitting there looking at my follower ratio and trying to figure out who's following me and who's not, and if I should follow them back. It's just one of those things that if it's good content and if it's worth it, then by all means.
And then the tie-in with Island Brewing and the Murphy operation. Do you mind sort of telling us how that works?
I mean, I've been with the Murphy Group and Jeff Squires, the PEI Brewing Company, for a number of years now, and they've been great with everything on this side of it. They have me in there kind of as a creative guy and the guy that can kind of bring these ideas to life. I've been just amazed at what they allow me to do in some certain senses that way, just on the creative side of things. And they've just been, they've kind of given me the golden key and said, as long as it's working and as long as things are going well on that side, then we trust your judgment and go from there. And that's being on the music side, on the food side, on the beer side, photography. That's kind of where I bring all of my skill set together, is for that group.
Is there sort of an event or something that you set out to, I'll say promote, that's probably not quite the word, but that you would point to and say, now that's where it came together? I'm wondering, it might have been the Fort Mac fundraiser, or maybe something else along those lines that stands out.
I think a big thing for us is and for me is the art battles that we do up there. That event just kind of blew up into something that nobody really expected. It was a couple years ago, and myself and Mike Ross, who just opened the Hop Yard restaurant, just had this idea, and we saw it happening in other cities. So it's a competitive painting event. They get 20 minutes to go up on stage and paint whatever they can in that time. And we saw it and we thought that could work in PEI, just with the arts community we already have. The mixed media, photography, music, everything just kind of comes together with that event. And we put the first one on almost 3 years ago now, and it was sold out. There was 500 people there, a full slate of artists, and it was just amazing. And we do those every month now, and we started from then every month. And every single time we do them, they're just packed. The quality of art that comes out of it is incredible. And it's a new avenue for those artists that don't have the gallery space or anything like that, or the experience to come in and show off their art to 500 people that probably wouldn't go to a gallery anyways. Because we're seeing people come in that are students, they're mechanics, they're office workers, all that kind of stuff. And it's a chance for them to go out and experience the kind of art that you can find in PEI. And that event has been incredible so far, and now we have the largest art battle events in Canada.
Great.
Even compared to Montreal or Toronto or Vancouver, those big urban centers just don't have that same community vibe that we do, and that's an incredible story.
Well, let me come back through and pick up on that point about the community vibe.
Yeah.
I think that's a great part of what you're achieving. If you were to stop people on the street and say, what do you think kind of young people looking to do something, I'll say hip, would do around here, and most people might say leave.
That's the hip thing to do, for sure.
Well, it's not. I mean, you're going to bringing people together, and there is not just a life, but there's a community in a sense of building something together. But, it adds up in terms of numbers you mentioned.
Yeah, absolutely.
Your art events with 500 people. Do you think we're making some headway in terms of this being like PEI being a place where people can kind of have that kind of life?
I think so. I think I've seen it. I think a lot in the past 2 years, with a lot of new businesses opening up, and I think people, when I was growing up, the cool thing to do at the time was to go away and move to Montreal or Toronto, and whether that was for school or to find another job or just to go there and find yourself for that time, that was the thing to do. And now that I'm getting into my late 20s, what I'm finding a lot is that people are so entrenched and desperate to try and get back to the island somehow. They want to come back, and they're just trying to find a way to do it, to make it work. 'Cause people are proud. People are proud to be from here, and people are proud and want to be proud of Prince Edward Island. And I find the only thing stopping them is just trying to make it work. I think now we have, and I see it because I'm the one at the events and putting those out there and sharing them, is that people see the art battles, they see the concerts, they see the new businesses opening up, and they're like, wow, PEI is changing and is getting more to what I want it to be. So how can I make that work? How can I take what I have here and move it back, and still have the same quality of life and way of life that way? So I've definitely seen that. It's big time changing, and I think the big thing is just to keep that momentum going. And how can we better serve those people and get them back here and keep them here.
It's very interesting. I was at a women in business thing yesterday, and you walk in that room, and just about everybody had the same reaction. Like, where did all these young women come from? And fact of the matter is, there are people here doing stuff.
Yeah.
And what you're doing is sort of bringing that together and helping to continue to build it. So,
yeah.
Thanks for doing that. And
my pleasure.
And we can see that it's getting us somewhere.
Yeah, and that's if I can help convince a few people just to come back to the island and start something new or start a new business. I think that's worth it more than anything in my side of things. If government is great to assist with that kind of stuff, but it's not their job to get people out there and doing that. Assist and then get out of the way and let them do their thing. And I think more people are realizing that, and if I can just spread the good gospel of PEI and get it out there, then that's what I'm here for.
Well, that's fantastic. Well, thanks for doing this.
Hey, thank you.
Keep up the good work.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Great.